people quitting keto to reverse type 2 diabetes? Keto used to be the craze for many people. With fast results with weight loss and lowering blood sugar, many people turned to keto when they're diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. So did Emily, Carlos, Glenn, and Ricardo, but they all decided to quit. And when they quit, really great things happened. Hint, hint, reversing diabetes, but I'll tell you later in this video. So why is that? Why are people quitting keto? First of all, if you don't know me, my name is Charmaine and I'm the registered dietitian that helps people reverse type 2 diabetes. And the number one reason why is because of life expectancy. Keto may help you lose weight and lower your blood sugar, but research have shown that people who go on low carb diets actually have increased all-cause mortality. And here's what the study says. Low carbohydrate dietary patterns favoring animal-derived protein and fat sources from sources such as lamb, beef, pork, and chicken were associated with higher mortality, whereas those that favored plant-derived protein and fat intake from sources such as vegetables, nuts, peanut butter, and whole grain breads were associated with lower mortality, suggesting that the source of food notably modifies the association between carbohydrate intake and mortality. So what it's saying is that the source of food really matters, whether it comes from animal-derived products or plant-derived products, which means the more meat and animal products that you eat, the higher mortality rate is, but the more plants you eat, the lower the mortality rate is. The second reason why people quit keto is because of heart health. People who have type 2 diabetes have higher incidences of having heart disease, and sadly, more than 70% of patients with type 2 diabetes actually pass away from heart disease, which is very shocking because most of the time we think that the cause of death for type 2 diabetes is probably DKA or high blood sugar, but in actuality, most people who have type 2 diabetes actually pass away from heart disease. And because with keto diets or other low carb diets, there's a heavy emphasis on animal protein such as red meat or processed meat, which is highly associated with cardiovascular disease and heart disease. This is definitely another big reason to quit keto. The third biggest reason is because of carbohydrate tolerance. Low carb diets, even though it may help you lower your blood sugar, it does not improve your glucose tolerance. In fact, low carb diets are actually known to impair glucose tolerance. In a study, the same group of people were put through a keto diet and a plant-based diet. And what they found was that when people went through a keto diet, their average result of oral glucose tolerance test was actually out of range. It was over the mark of 140, which indicates impaired glucose tolerance, and these people don't even have diabetes. Not to mention that their C-reactive protein, a marker of inflammation, was also increased during the keto phase. But when they went through a plant-based phase, which is actually full of healthy carbohydrates, their oral glucose tolerance test was actually well under range, 108. Yes, your body can actually forget how to process carbohydrates, and when people go through low carb diets where it impairs their glucose tolerance, some people call it starvation insulin resistance. And the thing is, type 2 diabetes is a disease of carbohydrate intolerance. So low carb diets or keto diets may lower your blood sugar, but may worsen carbohydrate tolerance. So if you want to be able to eat healthy carbs like fruit and whole grains again, increase your body's ability to process carbohydrates, make sure you turn from keto diets to whole foods plant-based lifestyle. So what happened to those people that I mentioned that turned from keto lifestyles to whole foods plant-based lifestyle? Emily lowered her A1C from 10 to 6 in just 6 weeks, and her doctor started weaning her off of insulin. And mind you, she was eating more healthy carbohydrates than before, and her mind was blown. Glenn, he tried low carb diets before keto diets, but his blood sugar just wouldn't budge. It was always at 200, 300 until he started a whole foods plant-based lifestyle, and within weeks, his blood sugar lowered to the hundreds. Carlos, same thing, tried low carb diets before, blood sugar didn't budge, but just 3 months of following a whole foods plant-based lifestyle, his A1C went from 9.5 to 5.6 in just 3 short months. Ricardo told me he really missed fruit while he was on the keto lifestyle, and he was so happy that he was able to enjoy fruits on this whole foods plant-based lifestyle, and he was able to see his post-meal blood sugar in the 90s, in the hundreds, 2 hours after eating a carb-rich meal. You can watch all their stories in my interview playlist, and if you want to learn more, I have a more in-depth training for you around the science of reversing diabetes. It's completely free and you can access it in my description below, or you can also find it in my LinkedIn profile depending on where you're watching this. So if you want to start your reversing diabetes revolution, I'll see you inside.